I wish to call upon and invite the chief guest, Mr. Sridhar Vembu, the CEO and co-founder, Zoho Corporation, to deliver the convocation address.
Good afternoon to the Chancellor, Sir, the Pro-Chancellor, the Vice-Chancellor, the eminent members of the Board of Management, and members of the Academic Council, the Registrar, the Deans, alumni, graduates, parents, the press and media persons here, and all of the ladies and gentlemen you are assembled. We want to first thank you on this occasion and welcome you to this. I am always in the university setting. I'm excited to see the students because we are hiring so many in Zoho. This year alone we have to hire 2,000. So to me, this is an effort to also motivate you to consider a company like Zoho. That's part of my mission. And also consider to lay out to you what are the challenges ahead facing our industry, our nation, and the world, and how you young graduates can contribute to this. So that is the primary reason I attend, and there's a lot of functions I attend, but universities are special to me, and the students are very special. And so I'll begin with what I see and why a company like Zoho exists, and what are the challenges that you yourself over the next 30, 40, 50 years of your professional career, and I hope you will set out to achieve. So let's look at our both our regional economy in our city, our Chennai surroundings, our state, Tamil Nadu, and our country. 3 levels we'll look at. If you look back to 1982, 83, when this institution was founded, I remember it, I was very much a student. I finished my plus 2 in 1985. I entered IIT Madras. At that time in entire Tamil Nadu, there were only about 6 or 7 engineering colleges, and this is one of the first three coming up in the newer colleges. There were maybe 6 or 7 in the government sector then, and just then the government was opening up engineering education to the private sector. At that time, the entire state only had maybe about 3,000 or 4,000 engineering seats. And I'm talking about 1982, 83 landscape. Today, this institution alone is admitting of that number, which tells you the tremendous growth we have achieved in this. And in parallel with that is how the economy of our region and economy of our state and all of southern India, and of course India itself, they've all grown together in this growth in engineering graduates. And to put this growth in perspective, in 1989 our GDP per capita of India was about $300 US. Today is over about $2,000. So over 6-7 times growth we have achieved. If you look at our state alone, our per capita GDP will be about $3,000 to $3,500. So you've grown about 10 times in the last 30 plus years, 32 years, 10 times. If we keep up this growth rate in the next 30 years, we will reach the ranks of the developed world, developed countries. We will be considered one of the richer countries in the world if we can keep up this growth rate over the next 30 years. In fact, today, the Chennai region alone would not be considered a poor nation anymore. We'd be considered more of a middle income, lower middle income nation now. That's the level we have come to. And the critical question for us is how do we grow the next 10x, which is what will put us in the Singapore or Kuala Lumpur, Dubai, and London, all those places. Those are considered developed today. How do we reach there? The last 30 years we got to one level. How do we get to the next 10x? So that is the challenge, that is the future we have to engineer together. It's primarily, I see it as an engineering technology challenge, not merely an economic challenge. And let me explain why I see it as an engineering and technology challenge. The early stage, when you look at our 1985 economy, broadly it was very much an agricultural dependent economy. And even today, if you go to the poorer districts of even our state and of course all over India, you will see a very largely agricultural economy. This is true very much in my own native region in Tanjavur district, as well as in Tenkasi, where my current home is. You will see very little of industry, mostly agriculture dependent, and most of the smarter students, once they graduate, if they go to college, they will leave. They will leave for Chennai, they may leave for Singapore, they may leave for US or Middle East, somewhere. They leave, they don't stay. And that is broadly the economy of our rural regions. And that economy can only get you to a certain level of GDP. And Chennai region and Coimbatore, our Kongu region, all of this are reasonably industrialized today. There is a large amount of industry. In fact, it is that industrial heartland, along with the IT sector, that have together made Tamil Nadu now the #1 state in terms of investments and industry, a lot of that. So we have reached that level. And yet we are only at that middle income economy. And my friend Ahmad, he talks about how we can become a 5 trillion economy. That's something that is 4 trillion. I made it 5 trillion for you. Because that level, we definitely will be considered a developed country. Because that's the economy the size of a Germany, for example. And at that level, we would be a fully developed region. How do we get to that? How do we get to this? And this is the topic that I've obsessed about. And if you look at a company like Zoho, we are competing with the best companies in the world. We are competing with Microsoft. We are competing with Salesforce. And we are competing with parts of Google. All of this, we are doing it right from here. Most of the software is written right here, not 15 minutes from your campus here. And then in Tenkasi. And now many other parts, but predominantly it's here in Tenkasi still. And with this talent pool here, developed here, including graduates from this institution, where one of the man behind our Tenkasi office is here, Rakib, please stand up. He was the one who was instrumental in our Tenkasi operation, now growing to 500 people. And he is your graduate here, I'm very proud to say. And he is the one who also persuaded me to come here. I don't travel a lot. He said I should come, so I'm here for him. And his type of talent, this is the talent I'm so proud that we retain not only in India, because this man wouldn't be here. He would be in the US somewhere now, if not for companies like us. And not only that, he was willing to go back to Tenkasi from Chennai and set our office up there, and now we have grown to about 500 people there. This is required. We need to repeat this story 100 times, 1,000 times for us to become fully developed. So to be fully developed, we need to harvest and retain our own brains to work for our region, our nation. That's the first step. It's the brain capacity we have to tap. In order to do that successfully, we have to also take up challenging projects. It's both, I'm going to call it two-sided problem. There is how do you engage and employ your own talented people? Second, how do we create all the technologies we ourselves want to consume? And I talked about the talent that we are creating in our country. Even today, so much of the talent is leaving our shores. That is the reality of our country. Still, so much of our talent we create is going abroad. So how do we retain the talent? The second equal part of that is how do we create the technologies that we need for our nation. And the technologies, you don't have to go very far. Look at that camera there, look at that camera, look at this mic I'm speaking in, look at your phone. Almost none of the critical technologies in these are made in India. None of the critical technologies. You buy a good washing machine at home, you look at the critical components, we lack the know-how to do that. The LED lights, most of them are LED here. The LED drivers, the chips, they are not made in India. So with so many engineering graduates we produce, our state alone, more than 2 lakh engineers are coming out every year. And these engineers are working on all these complex technologies, but they are not working in India often. When somebody works on very complex technology, most often they are doing that work abroad. And therefore the income that accrues to that work also stays abroad. That income is not coming to India, that income is not invested in India. And that when we create a job here for an advanced engineer, there is 20 other jobs created for our fellow citizens. On this we have actually did a socio-economic survey. For every job that we create in Tenkasi for engineers like Rakib, 10 to 20 jobs are created in the broader economy. This has been our story of all this. And so our critical need now is to both retain the talent and work on advanced technologies. And what are those advanced technologies? I mentioned our smartphone technologies, 5G infrastructure, and everything from medical instruments, MRI machines, and aerospace technology. And we now have achieved a certain level in defense technology, but we still need planes, fighter jets, all of that technology. And biotechnology, advanced medicines now. So you name the technology area, and advanced materials, nanotechnology. All of this and the engineering talent we are producing right here in this institution and institutions similar to us all over the country. The talent has to be nurtured, the talent has to be channelized so that we can produce those critical technologies. If we are able to do that, there's a direct organic connection from that to becoming a developed nation. That's the real connection. And I'll explain how. There is a very simple, I'll give you a very simple mathematical reasoning in this. If you look at our average, for example, in the agricultural sector, the primary sector they call it, the productivity per person per year, it might be in the range of about $1,500 to $2,000, about 1.5 lakhs maybe. That's the productivity, that's the total amount of value what they produce, 1.5 lakhs per year. And if you take manufacturing, that jumps about almost tenfold immediately. Your typical worker is able to produce about 10 to 15 lakhs of value easily. We are talking about maybe $10,000 to $15,000. That's the manufacturing productivity, typical. If you take technology, and within technology I'm going to distinguish two categories. Take IT services. IT services industry, we take companies like TCS or Infosys or Wipro, any of them, they will produce about $45,000 to $50,000 per person of value creation per year. That will put you in about 35 lakhs. So we're talking about 1.5 lakhs in agriculture, 10, 15 lakhs in manufacturing. IT services is about 35 lakhs. So you can see the jump. And then you go to innovation jobs, software products like Microsoft. the value created per year would be shocking. It will shock you. It is about 6 to 7 crores per person per year. So we are talking about somewhere jumping from the 1.5 lakhs in agriculture, 15 lakhs manufacturing, 37 lakhs in IT services, to 7 crores in companies like Microsoft. You see the level. Now if you want a richer country, richer region, we have to be competing for those jobs, the jobs that add value. So now you see why I entered the software product industry. Because I saw which is the sector with the high value creation potential. You could see that software products do that. So that's why we entered that 25 years ago. And our entire prosperity is simply systematically targeting this problem. In Tenkasi, our team is able to add about 50 lakhs per person of value now. That's our value addition in terms of what we are able to achieve in Tenkasi, which should be the highest in the whole region. No company will come close to that. We are able to do that with our talent, all drawn from our own, all the villages, all the towns there, mostly, right? So we are able to do this. We are able to add those 40, 50 lakhs. I believe we can actually add maybe 1 crore, 2 crore per person of value addition over the next 5, 10 years. If we are more successful in our products, we are creating more successful products. So if you want to be a developed region, we have to invest in sophisticated technology capabilities. And I will highlight one area where we still need a lot of work. That's something that I myself am focused on, but I'm going to highlight this. I visited about 15, 20 factories in the Coimbatore, Kongu region of our state. All textile factories, other manufacturing, mechanical, all of that. And what was common across all those factories is about 90%, 95% of the capital goods, the goods that are in the factory, they are all imported. Where are they imported from? They are typically imported from Germany, Switzerland, or Japan, sometimes Taiwan, and more recently China. China has been able to get into some of the rungs of that industry, still predominantly dominated by Germany and Japan. And if you look at the cost of those machines, the lowest cost machines they will say is about 1 or 2 crores. And you go to more sophisticated machines, bigger ones, you see, they'll say 10, 15 crores. And we are importing all this today. Almost the entire technology foundation, how the factory is run, we are importing those machines. And if we have to grow to the next level in the economy, it is those type of machine tools, that knowledge we have to crack. If you go to Germany and Switzerland, look at those regions that produce those machine goods, you see the value addition per engineer, the same metric, you will see that they are doing about 1 to 2 crores per engineer. I mentioned Microsoft at 7 crores. In the machine tools itself, they are adding about 1 to 2 crores per engineer. That's the value added in that sector. So we are buying those machines. Our manufacturing will add about 15 to 20 lakhs per worker. But we are not able to add value at the 1 or 2 crores per engineer. That is our, in other words, if you can immediately see why our incomes are lower. Our incomes are lower because we are not able to compete at that level. That's simple. And the only way to do this is to master the technologies. And in this, I'll tell you a good news. We, in 25 years in Zoho, we have been able to master some very, very critical technologies. For example, I'll mention a product built in Tenkasi itself, Zoho Desk. Zoho Desk is a product that now is globally sold. About 90% of the revenues coming from abroad. US, Europe, everywhere we have customers, some really big name customers. And it's almost 80% of the code is written in Tenkasi and remaining in Chennai. That's the division of the team now. Majority bulk of the team is in Tenkasi. This product competes, our biggest competition is in San Francisco. And we are able to hold our own in competition. We are competing with the company in San Francisco with our team in Tenkasi. We are able to do this. And we are able to do, for example, take Zoho Mail, which competes with Gmail and Microsoft Exchange. Most of the team is right here in Guduvanjeri. And we are able to compete globally. Today we are in the top 3 in email market globally. Microsoft Exchange, the G Suite, Google and Zoho. So that's the ranking now. And we are able to compete from right here in Guduvanjeri for the global market. Again, our market is now, most of the revenue, about 90% plus, is coming from abroad. And this has to be repeated across again and again and again in medical instruments. And all of these, I tell you, building one reason why there are only 3 big email companies in the world, it is a very difficult problem. It's very difficult to scale, it is very difficult to ensure reliability, and it's very difficult to ensure security, spam, phishing, all those problems. So we have solved all those problems quite well. We have a really good infrastructure team to make sure that it doesn't go down. We have a security team to make sure that we don't get spammed. And there is all manner of threats online. We have security teams, all of that. And all this expertise was built in the last 25 years, starting from zero. None of that expertise was here in this region. We did not have it before. We built it step by step. Why I'm narrating this is, actually we can do this in textile machinery. We can do this in robotics. We can do this in advanced medical instruments. We can do this in biotechnology. We can do this in aerospace. We can do this across a whole range of technologies, which critically our nation needs to both develop as a fully developed nation, realize the potential, and also crucially to alleviate poverty. I'll come to the poverty angle. If we create a job that pays really well, say 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs per year in a place like Tenkasi, that income goes around the community. It's what they call the multiplier effect in economics. Those of you who have studied economics will understand this multiplier effect. That 1 rupee of income in this type of an export job becomes 10 to 20 rupees of income in the local economy. So these export jobs have high multiplier effect. And when that, immediately those jobs that we create go to the poorer of our fellow citizens. So every high income job we creates 10 to 20 jobs for our own poorer citizens. And if these people who are capable of advanced work, we export the talent, those 10 to 20 other jobs don't get created here. That is the problem. In other words, when our own very talented citizens leave, they will benefit personally, but the 20 other people who might have gotten jobs, who cannot leave, the 20 other people cannot leave, those will not have jobs, or will not have good jobs, or will not have good pay. So poverty alleviation critically depends on our mastering technology. Very interestingly, I've been studying, reading this book on how Asia works. I really will urge all of you to read this book, How Asia Works. This gives you a story of East Asia, starting with Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and later China. How each of these countries followed essentially the same blueprint to become developed. And critical role was played by their very conscious effort to catch up in technology. They made a very national determination, we need to catch up in these technologies. And today China is very aggressively doing this catch up, and they have caught up in about 70% of the technologies already. And they are making rapid advances. You can see the increasing quality of Chinese goods in our markets. And this is exactly what we must do. And for that, the crucial role has to be played by our engineering graduates, our technology graduates, our science graduates, all of you. You have to make this a determination and do this. So with this, I want to thank all of you. I want to wish all the graduates well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Vanakkam.